Hey everybody, JC here. It is Monday afternoon, July 7th in Austin, Texas. It's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. About to make my way back on over to H-Town, Houston, and head on back home to Porter. So, gonna get, already got the navigation set. Let's go ahead and get on the road. Got the navigation set for home. We are going to make a stop in Giddings along the way. Pulling out of the hotel parking lot. Making our way through to the front of the hotel. And we'll make a left. Pull this up so I can see the blow by blow, as they say. There we go. See what we're going to do here. No traffic oncoming, so we go ahead and make our way down here. Once we get up on the road firmly on the highway, I'll go ahead and use this time for this drive back to Houston to get y'all updated on some things. I know it's been a while since I've done one of these solo FSD drives with commentary. So I figured it'd be a good time to summarize the last few weeks, do some updates, all that sort of stuff. All right. We are on the Highway 290 feeder right now. We've successfully matriculated our way out of the hotel parking lot and about to make a U-turn to get on the other side of the 290 feeder. Very nice turn into the U-turn here. Coming around the end, no oncoming traffic. Continue on. Great job. Stay on the feeder here. We're going to get up on 71 going eastbound. All right, we're going to need to get over here. There we go. Great job. Now make our way back over to the left. Now that that lane's opened back up. All right. Getting up on 71 going eastbound. All right. One thing I've already noticed is that I currently have FSD in the chill mode. And quite frankly, I'm trying to remember why I would have had it in the chill mode. Likely due both to the weather that we've had here in Austin and Central Texas for about the last 3 or 4 days. As y'all know, we've had some pretty harsh weather here in Central Texas. So, and that started about, gosh, really 4 or 5 days ago is when I first noticed it coming in. And usually when we get inclement weather, FSD does great, but I just go ahead and put it into the chill mode during that time. And then also, a lot of times when I have Uber passengers, I will put it into the chill mode. But I'm going to tell you what, while we're on the highway here, I'm going to put it in standard mode. So there's been some discussion about chill versus standard versus hurry. And as y'all well know, I'm in the hurry mode quite a bit. And in fact, Habib, who goes by Habib the Dweeb on X, really cool guy. He's a doctor, so really intelligent guy as well, but really interesting person, great person in the Tesla X community, longtime Tesla shareholder, and a active member of the Tesla community on the X platform. He was mentioning that he, similar to myself, uses the hurry mode mostly. He lives up in the northeast part of the country, so think about northern New Jersey, New York City, Manhattan. And so, as you might imagine, the hurry mode really mimics the personality of driving in Midtown Manhattan, financial district, certain parts of the boroughs. But one thing he noticed is that when you're on the highways and it's congested, there's a lot of other traffic, that the standard mode seems to actually do better than the hurry mode. Because as y'all have seen, any of you that actually have Tesla FSD as well, or have seen in my videos, I mean, the hurry mode, it is an apt name. It is in a hurry. And it will just find the path of least resistance, no holds barred. And sometimes that can get FSD in some situations that are just not optimal, right? Like where you end up in a left turning lane when you need to be in the next lane over, or if it just camps out in the left lane a little too much. And there's times where I think hurry mode on the highways is actually perfect. Probably when you have like an open highway and not a lot of traffic. You're out in the middle of nowhere. You're out on the interstate. You're in between cities. That might be a great use for hurry mode. But I'm going to try out what Habib said. Like when you're actually on the highways in a more congested area, that the standard mode seems to work really, really well. And I'll tell you one thing I can already notice with the standard mode is it definitely does not camp out in the left lane like hurry mode may do. Don't get me wrong, hurry mode will also get over for other vehicles if you're in the left lane and somebody comes up behind you. But quite frankly, it is, got a little bit of a nag there. Probably don't need my sunglasses right now. Let me take those off. Yeah, but let me put a pin. That brings up another subject. Let me put a pin in the modes of FSD to say that I think I mentioned like a month or so ago that I felt like the nags had gotten relaxed a little bit with FSD. Well, I take all that back. I don't know what's happened in the last couple of weeks, but it definitely feels like the nags are a little bit more strict now. And, I can pontificate on why they're doing that. I've got my own personal opinion. My personal opinion, and I'm fine with this, is that because FSD has gotten so good, and again, I am on version 13.2.9 in an AI4 Model 3 that I bought at the end of last year, so relatively new Model 3. FSD is just phenomenal right now. And you have to remember, we are still in the supervised mode, and fully in the supervised mode. The only time where you do not have to actively supervise FSD is when you are stopped at 0 miles per hour. That's it. At this point in time, the only time frames where I have seen where Tesla FSD in the supervised mode won't nag you, if you're stopped at a stoplight at 0 miles per hour, you can check your phone a little bit during that time frame. But nothing else. You even going 5 miles per hour, 5 to 10 miles per hour and stop and go, if you try to check your phone, it'll nag you. So we are fully in the supervised mode. There has been no relaxation of supervised. They have not updated that whatsoever. And because we are still fully in the supervised mode, look at that, we're getting back over to the middle lane. Oh, we're getting over to the right lane now. And because FSD has gotten so good, I personally believe they've increased the nag a little bit because it's gotten so good. Because it is, they don't want you to get lulled into thinking that you should not be supervising, because you should. It is supervised, and it says as much on the software. It's all right there that you need to supervise. Be ready to take over at a moment's notice, at a second's notice. Less than that. And so what I've noticed is that if you take your eyes away from the front windshield too much, or like there a second ago when I was wearing sunglasses, it's not going to nag you like it did before, back in the days before they took away the nag, but it's definitely more sensitive in my personal opinion. That's just what I've seen in the last, I'd say 2 to 3 weeks. So I'm actually fine with that. So, I mean, we're in the supervised mode. Now, if you ask me, do I think we're at a place where Tesla could look into adjusting what supervised means during certain scenarios? I do. I don't think we're at a spot where you completely make it unsupervised. By no means am I saying that. But I do believe that the software has gotten good enough. Again, this is anecdotal. This is my personal opinion, so this is not backed up by any empirical evidence or any actual data that Tesla may be seeing. But I could think of several scenarios where they could relax the supervision and let folks do some other things. I mentioned one of them before, is when you're in stop and go traffic on the highway, and let's say you're going, less, I don't know, you can pick a miles per hour, maybe going less than 25 or 30 miles per hour on the highway. I mean, let's just be blunt. FSD's already way better than humans in stop and go traffic on the highway. So I could see them doing something there. And there's likely a handful of other scenarios. That's the one that comes to mind. But I get it, right? We are in the early days of autonomy. And so you don't want to jeopardize. You want to be as safe as you can possibly be. All right, let's see where we're going here. Yeah, I was about to say, it was getting over to the right lane, but I think, see, now that's where I think standard mode, that was interesting. Standard mode wants to get over to the middle and stay there and stay out of the left lane, but we needed to be in the left lane for this exit. So that was kind of an inverse interesting scenario there. But quite frankly, the amount of scenarios where your exits to the left and you need to stay over to the left versus exits to the right are pretty few and far between. But so yeah, just wanted to bring that up since we saw that nag come up about 5-10 minutes ago. So we put a pin in the FSD modes that we were talking about while I was talking about nags, status of supervised mode. So yeah, we are in the standard mode right now. It's been pretty good. So far, my feedback to Habib would be, I agree with him. Although it is kind of interesting, we just saw a scenario right there where, because it was in the standard mode, and the standard mode wants to get towards the middle lane, that it got over prematurely because we needed to actually take an exit to the left. All right, we're getting over because we have a vehicle, I believe, going a little faster than us coming up behind us. Let's see how it does here. So yeah, here comes a vehicle to our left rear. Now let's see what we do. So far, we're just staying put. I figured standard mode, once a faster vehicle pulls through. Of course, we do have some other faster vehicles coming on up. I don't know, this feels pretty comfortable. Especially with me just kind of sitting here jaw-jacking as well. There we go. So we had another vehicle coming through that was also going a little faster. So there we are. So we got back over into the left lane. Past that vehicle. Now let's see what we do. Now we're not trying to get back over to the right, but we do have a little bit of a slower vehicle in that right lane. But all in all, yeah, I like this. It's just, you can definitely feel that's just a bit more relaxed than the hurry mode. The hurry mode, make no mistake about it, it wants to get you from point A to point B in the quickest, most efficient manner. But there are scenarios where that may not be to your benefit. There we go. We got around that GMC right there. And we're back over to the right lane. Yeah, I kind of like this. Chill mode. I do use chill mode from time to time with Uber passengers, especially older Uber passengers. Folks that have never experienced FSD before. If I can remember to do it, a lot of times I will switch over to the chill mode for them. Okay, that was interesting. So FSD just moved slightly over to the right, and I know exactly why it did it. So that was a false positive, I guess is what you would call it. There were tire tracks, like obviously a semi or some truck, some larger vehicle had skidded there, and there were some very dark tire tracks there. And FSD moved over just slightly. Not anything uncomfortable, but just slightly. But what I would tell you is that was a false positive. Obviously, we did not need to move over to avoid tire tracks in the road. All right, we're getting over to the left. So I would say that's something that the Tesla FSD technology could probably get a little bit better at, because you do not need to maneuver to avoid tire tracks in the road, obviously. All right, we're coming into Bastrop County. Let's see, it's a 70 mile per hour speed limit. We're doing about 73. I've noticed at times we got up to 75, I believe. So I think also the speed limit selection, I think standard mode is probably a good mode for a lot of folks. But I will agree with Habib too. And he and I are very identical in that we probably spend the majority of our time in the hurry mode. But there's definitely just kind of a comfort factor with the standard mode. Continue to kind of see how it does. I will tell you, one thing I did on the trip up here is that when we would go through smaller towns, like when you're on a state highway, not an interstate, right? Because interstates just go right on through town, but like on a state or county highway where you're actually going through smaller towns and maybe even they've got traffic lights, I've noticed that the chill mode is probably the best for that, because in the hurry mode, and maybe we'll try out standard mode with that a little bit today, but in the hurry mode, and you know what I'm talking about, like what'll happen is you'll have a state highway where they'll have a 70 or maybe even a 75 mile per hour speed limit, but then as you're going through a town, it'll slow down to 55, sometimes even 45, right? I like that. See, we're getting back over to the right. Yeah, so standard mode definitely does not hang out in the left lane. And we're going 75 and a 70, which is perfect. That's going to be perfect for most people. But, yeah, going through these small towns, you got to be careful. And hurry mode, it was slowing down. But again, you got to remember, on hurry mode, it'll go 78 to 80 in a 70, which, let me be blunt, in the state of Texas, you're perfectly fine with that. But when you're going through these small towns, there were certain situations where it was slowing down to just like 68 to 70. And I'm like, I'm just not comfortable with that. You kind of, you need to be a bit slow. Okay, it looks like we got some congestion coming up here. I don't know if that's congestion or just normal afternoon, 3:30 in the afternoon traffic here in Bastrop. Go, slowing down. Great job. See, yeah, those are the modes. That's what I'm doing today. So I'll probably spend a bit more time in the standard mode today than I might have normally. I'm usually just in the hurry mode the whole doggone way. But good to be able to show people these different modes as well. We are in Wildwood, Texas, so not technically in Bastrop yet. We're in Bastrop County, but not the city of Bastrop. So yeah, this is a scenario where I think standard mode is probably better than hurry mode. where you've got a little bit more congestion, and maybe you don't want to just be darting around in traffic the whole time. All right, we're getting over to the right lane. Got a little slowdown coming up here. And like I said, I do have some other things I was going to talk about. Oh, this is interesting. So we're getting off here. It's going to take us a little bit of a different route. It wants to save us some time. I'm fine with that. I've got Tesla navigation set up to save as much time as possible. Hopefully none of those tires fall off of that truck and hit us in the front windshield. So yeah, we have gotten off of Highway 71. I've noticed some other people have too. Look at that. You can see ahead of us some other people are getting off of Highway 71. So we'll just see. Yeah, it looks like there's a lot of congestion going on up there. So hopefully this works out for us. And that's one thing I'll tell you. Yeah, they're stopped. I'm looking over to my left. The traffic on Highway 71 is, I mean, it's moving along. I should say stopped, but it's definitely congested. Not moving like we are. Now, the only con I will say to this is not the best road in the world. This is one of your typical rural roads right here. I mean, it's better than gravel. Yeah, so we're cutting out about 1.5 miles of Highway 71. So we'll just see how that works out for us. Looks like the emergency vehicle with the tires on the back, they're doing the same thing we're doing. So that's my guess at this point. All right, we got a two-way stop here. FM 1209 directly in front of us. They have the right of way. We do have a vehicle coming from both directions, so we need to wait. And there we go. Should have opening. There we go. Excellent. And then here in about 200 or 300 feet, we'll get right back up on Highway 71. So that cut out about 1.5 miles of it. Let's see how we do up here. All right. Go get the left, or excuse me, the right turn-in lane. I guess that emergency vehicle technician was not going this direction. There we go. Yep, and they're just in a parking lot back there. So that, you know, you're never gonna fully know, but I think that probably saved us some time. Good job, Tesla navigation. And so far at this point, I'm looking at the navigation, and it's going to keep us on Highway 71 again for a while. So maybe it was just in that area there, a Wildwood. We've got about 35 more minutes till we get to Giddings. I am going to stop in Giddings and charge up and get a little something to eat. I haven't eaten yet today. I'm doing my intermittent fasting thing. And we did not leave with a full charge. I think we were right around, oh God, we might have been at 40%. We were either at 40 or just a little bit below 40. But that's the beautiful thing about Teslas. Just get on the road. It doesn't matter. Depending on the state you're in, but in the state of Texas, just get on the road. Especially between Austin and Houston. So many Tesla Superchargers that you never have to worry about anything like that. All right, we have entered the city of Bastrop. Nice day. Little bit overcast. But I will tell you, compared to the last 4 or 5 days, I would almost not even call this overcast. But yeah, it's a little bit dark clouds, but not too much. It's like it's about 93 degrees, which for Central Texas in July is actually pretty temperate. And I have noticed that since I took my sunglasses off, I haven't gotten nagged again. So, yeah, I've just noticed that with sunglasses on during the day, it's gotten a little bit more strict with the nags. I may put the sunglasses on again here in a little bit and just test that out. But as you can tell, I mean, I took off the sunglasses probably 20, 30 minutes ago and have not gotten nagged. So yeah, we talked about the increased nags. We talked about the modes and FSD, and that I'm trying out something a little bit different today based on Habib's feedback to the community. And so far, I'm liking it. I'm really, really liking it. And maybe once we're out of the more congested part of Central Texas and get out onto the open road, I may put it back on hurry mode just so it goes a little bit faster. But I'll tell you, so far, I'm enjoying standard mode. Which, by the way, interestingly, and one of the topics that I'm going to discuss today on our road trip back to Houston is Robo taxi. Tesla launched Robo taxi. Yes. But not to steal too much thunder from that. But I bring that up because I noticed that all of the Robo taxi Teslas that I was in while I was over in Austin, they were all on the standard mode. So it appears that Tesla Robo taxi is running an FSD fairly similar to the one we have. Obviously, there's some improvements to the version they have, most notably that it can be unsupervised, right? That's a big one. But even taking away the fact that it's unsupervised, just some of the subtle nuances of the pickup and arrivals are a bit better. Definitely a little bit smoother during the drive. But yeah, I noticed that all of them were using the standard mode of FSD. Right, we just got over to the right lane. There was a vehicle behind us that looked like they were going a little faster, but then they got in right behind us. So it says here, about 1.5 miles, we're going to take 21 east. Yeah, I think it's, yeah, there you go. Yeah, right here in Bastrop, we change up a little bit. So let's see how we do with the state highway interchanges here. So don't worry, we're going to get on to the topics that I'm going to discuss. We're going to talk about Robo taxi in Austin. We're going to talk about the autonomous delivery of the very first autonomous delivery of a Tesla. We're going to talk about my Uber experience in Austin, and then a few other things. But those are the three main ones: Robo taxi, autonomous delivery, and then my Uber experience there. But let's handle this state highway interchange we're about to do here in a second. All right, get off of Highway 71. Take a left under the bridge, get on 150, but not a U-turn. Perfect lane selection. Perfect lane selection. Did not try to race over to the left, got into the proper lane. All right, let's wait for the traffic signal to turn. There we go. We got the green light. All right, we got a 55-mile-an-hour speed limit here. So let's just see what our speed selection's like. Well, we're not going to be on here very long, about a half mile right here. So we're doing our little highway interchange here. But we'll see. So we're going 57 and a 55. Nobody behind us. Highway intersection ahead. Absolutely. Get on Highway 21. Get in the right turning lane. Got a red light. Well, we got a Ford F-150 in front of us anyway. To wait and get into traffic. All right, Ford F-150 moved on up. We move on up. Still got traffic. There we go. We creep on up. There we go. We got an opening. Great job. All right. Now we are on State Highway 21 going eastbound. And it looks like we'll be here for 11 miles. And we'll see how standard does. We'll just stick with standard. Because again, this is one of those smaller state highways. I can't remember what speed limits you can get up to on this. But it looks like we're in a 55 right now. We are going 66 in a 55, but then again, we are going along with traffic. Okay, no, I'm sorry, it's a 60. And it's been updated on FSD as well. All right. Got some lights, but those are just the flashing cautions. Must be Thought there might be a fire station around there, but I guess not. All right. Getting ahead of a vehicle over here. Let's see what we do. There we go. Once we got around that vehicle, we get over in the right lane. Very comfortable. Yeah. I mean, I think standard mode is going to be a very comfortable road for the vast majority of folks that want to use FSD. Me personally, y'all witnessed me enough. I'm fine with hurry mode and darting in and out. But this is comfortable. I like this. I can see myself using this more and more. Again, especially in dense environments. Yep, there we go, Trump Vance. Yep, just in case you want to know, you're in Trump Vance country here in Bastrop, Texas. All right, we got good speed selection here. We're actually going 74 in a 60 because the rest of traffic, that's essentially what they're doing. As you can see ahead of us, but we're staying in the right lane. So we're going along with traffic, but we're not darting in and out. Yeah. Apologies. I know y'all are probably wanting me to get on to the topics, but I'm just kind of also enjoying observing the standard mode. I just don't use it very often. I'm probably, when I'm in the car myself, almost entirely hurry mode. And then if I do change it for an Uber passenger, I'll almost always just go all the way down to chill. So this is kind of my first time to spend a lot of time with standard mode. And I agree with Habib. That's kind of nice. It's like, you can almost say it's the best of both worlds. Because it's got good speed selection. It's not like it's going like a slowpoke. Yeah. Yeah, I could see this being the most preferable mode for a lot of folks. Let's see what we got up here. Cross section. Lake Bastard Park over to our left. Go down that way a few miles. Yeah, that's what it was. Just heading, because I guess, especially on the weekends, that intersection probably gets a little busy. Now this is where I would probably be okay just putting it into hurry mode. We got an open highway here. But quite frankly, I'm fine with the speed selection. You know, it's a 60 mile per hour state highway. And I don't know. And we are kind of going through, it's not, obviously it's not dense whatsoever. But we are kind of going through some pockets of population here. So, yeah, I'm kind of fine staying. Lane ends, merge right. All right, there we go. So now we're going down to one lane here. And you can actually see like a mile ahead. So yeah, Robo taxi. So Tesla launched its Robo taxi service. Started about, it's a little over 2 weeks now that it's been going. Started 2 weeks ago Sunday. So exactly 15 days into the Robo taxi service, and it's been going wonderfully. Has it had a few snafus? Absolutely. Yeah, I think there was one situation where there was some phantom braking that somebody noted. Obviously there's, with the pickups and the drop-offs, not all of them have been perfect. There's been some comments back on that. There have been a few interventions, I believe. At least one that I know of. And the one that I know of for sure, it was an intervention because a human driver around the robo-taxi was doing something that they shouldn't be doing. But, got to call it like it is. If you're going to have a robo-taxi service, it's going to have to take into consideration that there will still be humans on the road, and that those humans will do stupid things from time to time. That, you got to acknowledge that. That's just a blunt force trauma truth. And until the day where everything is autonomous, you are going to have to build into your autonomous vehicle system the capabilities of robotaxi to adjust to humans on the road doing suboptimal things while they're manually driving. But again, we're already over 2 weeks in. So we're talking thousands of rides at this point that it's done. No accidents. Obviously no accidents or fatalities, so that's the big one. Nobody's gone into the Colorado River. Yeah. So just got to keep plugging away. Just keep doing rides. So I got to use the robo-taxi, I believe is about a dozen times. Don't hold me to that. It could be 10, it could be 14, it could, but it's somewhere, I just say a dozen. All right, we're getting into the left lane here to get around some slower moving vehicles. Let's see how we do after we get past that lead. And there we go. Put on our right blinker, get on over. Love it. Love it. Yeah, that's great. That's great. So, all right, let me pay attention here for a second. So let's stick a pin in robo-taxi. I was talking about how many robo-taxi rides that I got to do, because we are about to make a highway adjustment here. See the flashing yellows coming up? Those flashing yellows are for us. All right, we got a vehicle in front of us going a little slower too. So I'm slowing down here. Highway intersection ahead. Ooh, be careful. Got a track. Oh, Lord. That guy got pretty close to the highway, to the feeder road here, or the turning lane. We did well there, as did the human driver in front of us. Although they're kind of all over the place now. I think they got frazzled. All right, we are getting up onto Highway 290. There we go. Get on over one more. And we'll be on Highway 290 for quite a while. For this leg of the drive, we are going to stop in Giddings, Texas. There's a Tesla Supercharger there in Giddings at a Circle K. So we're going to stop there and charge up, get a little something to eat. And then we'll get back up on the road. But yeah, going back to talking about Robo Taxi, I got to do about a dozen rides, got to be the +1 for Joe Tegmeyer and for Bradford Ferguson. So thank you very much to both of those gentlemen for allowing me to ride along with them. Joe Tegmeyer actually let me be his +1 on the first day of Robotaxi. So I actually got to enjoy one of the very first Robotaxi rides. In fact, I think they were looking at screenshots of when folks hailed the first Robotaxi, and we were, I want to say we might have been the second. We were in the top 5, no doubt about it, of the very first Robotaxi rides. But yeah, so between those two gentlemen who had early access, I got to do about a dozen rides, and all 12 of them phenomenal. No interventions, no issues. I can't remember the FSD doing anything squirrely. I never felt scared at any point in time that there was no driver in the driver's seat, or no supervisor, I should say, in the driver's seat. There was a supervisor. So as everybody probably knows, because this was the initial launch of the Robotaxi service, very similar to the way Waymo did when they rolled out their service, is there is a safety supervisor. So every single Robotaxi has a safety supervisor in the vehicle. They sit in the passenger seat, so they are not in the driver's seat. So they do not have access to the steering wheel. They do not have access to the brake or the accelerator. They are just sitting there in the passenger seat. But again, during the initial weeks and few months of rolling a service out, I am completely on board with them doing that. And my personal take is, don't pull those safety supervisors until you're good and ready. I would rather them continue to scale up, get more Model Ys into service, into the network, expand the area where it's going, and have the safety supervisor be the last thing they pull. I'm fine with having those folks in there because they're not doing anything, right? And they're there for just for safety. We got the sheriff's department there, sitting on a perch. Let's do a double check on him. We were doing good though. We're going 74 and a 70. That's fine here. All right, we got about a little bit over 8 miles before we get to Giddings and to our stop. But So yeah, I would say there were, at the low end, 11 robo-taxis. I think some people say there might be as many as 20. But let's just say somewhere between 11 and 20. That's what it seemed to be to most folks. All Model Ys. So all of them, the same brand new Model Y Junipers that you could go buy from Tesla right now off of Tesla.com. Each of them had a safety supervisor in the passenger seat. What else? I mentioned before, they're obviously all running FSD. My personal opinion is it didn't seem to be like some big great leap forward in FSD. I felt like it was a very similar version to the FSD that we're running right now, just maybe a version or two better. And obviously, like I said, unsupervised. But not that numbers should matter, but if somebody were to ask me how different did the FSD feel in the robo-taxi compared to the FSD you experience day in and day out, if I've got version 13.2.9, I would say that the FSD version that we were experiencing was more like a 13.3 or a 13.4 than it was like a version 14. I did not feel like, oh my God, this thing is just dramatically different. No. I felt like it was like a 13.3 or a 13.4. Somebody might say 13.4 because it was unsupervised, right? So like, if we continue to get updates, my guess is we're going to stay in the supervised world for a while. So as they start relaxing supervision a bit and continue to improve like pickups and drop-offs with our personal version of, well, not pickups, but like drop-offs really, parking and whatnot, that's probably like a 13.3 trajectory. And so you might argue and say, well, then that was 13.4 because they were completely unsupervised from not needing anybody in the driver's seat. So, but yeah. And then the safety supervisors did have access to 2 or 3 buttons on the user interface screen, the UI screen, that you don't see with regular FSD. Like they could have the vehicle stop in an emergency setting, and there was a stop button where if you push that button, it stops and it pulls over safely to the next, the first safe spot that it can pull over. They had that. And then there was a couple of other buttons. That was the main one I remember, is that there was kind of like a safety stop button for the safety supervisor to use. But yeah, it's been doing great. So, now that we got 2 weeks under the belt, what else let's talk about how Robotaxi did during these first couple of weeks first. So like I said, based on my 12 rides, no issues. Like, they were great. Damn near flawless. We did, like I said, they were not, it is not flawless. So we have noticed a few hiccups, a handful of hiccups, but again, nothing that they can't get fixed with an over-the-air update. And that's what they're doing. And a lot of folks that have been doing, like the folks that actually have access, some of them they've said that, like they've noticed improvements just in the last couple of weeks while they've been doing drives. Most notably, like the Joe Tegmeyers of the world. I think Homar's blog, he even mentioned that while he was in Austin for the week, it seemed to get a little better, just around the edges, just a skosh, and some other folks. So I think they're making improvements as we go. So that's the wonderful thing about over-the-air updates and a neural net and vision, is that you notice an issue, you can fix it over the air, get it done now. So what else? Oh, one other thing that you can tell has been an improvement. So during the first week when I was with Bradford Ferguson, there was a tremendous thunderstorm that swept through. And this would have been like I want to say the third or fourth day that Robotaxi was running. And Tesla decided to temporarily stop the Robotaxi service until the thunderstorms passed. Because again, initial rollout. And Bradford and I both agreed that was really good judgment on their part, because it's so new. I mean, this was literally like again, I can't remember if it was the third or fourth day that it had been running, but it hadn't been running very long. So it's like, you know what? Just be cautious. And so they stopped it, and that was only for like an hour or so. Let the thunderstorm go through and then pick it back up. Well, here just recently, as you know, we've had 2 or 3 days, maybe 4, of some pretty harsh weather in the Central Texas area. And the Robotaxi service just kept on going. And it did phenomenally. Phenomenal. And so there you can see, that is basically just a week to maybe 8 or 9 days apart. Let's say a week and a half apart of, they were good to go to keep it going. And I would say it was even worse weather than when that thunderstorm came through a week and a half ago. So that was great to see that it did so well in those thunderstorms that came through. All right, let's put a pin in Robotaxi. So we were talking about so when we put a pin in it, we were talking about what we've seen with Robotaxi during these first couple of weeks. And then once we finish that, we'll talk about what's next with Robotaxi. So, all right. Got about another half mile. Our stop, there's one of the original Buc-ee's over there, but they don't have Tesla Superchargers over there. And that's one of the smaller Buc-ee's anyway. All right. Continuing to move on up. And getting up to the stoplight where we should get over into the left turning lane. There we go. Any Teslas charging over there? I don't see any, so we're going to be by ourselves today. Oh, actually, I do see one Tesla. Never mind. Looks like there is all right, we got the yellow caution light, so you can turn left on the flashing yellow. There we go. Here is the Tesla Superchargers in Giddings, Texas. Make our turn in here. Let's see how we do. Is he going to try to park us this time? Well, yeah, but kind of hard to charge like this. Yep. So I'm going to go ahead and get us reparked so that I can charge and get charged up, get something to eat, and then we'll be back on the road in a little bit. All right, everybody. Bye-bye. All right. All done charging up. Got a little something to eat here in Giddings, and time to get back up on the road. Let's go. All right. Got the navigation put into the Tesla navigation. Let's see how we do here.
Weird as this sounds, like it's kind of an icebreaker, like out of the gate.
Going through the Cefco parking lot here. Got a vehicle pulling through.
I was like, hey, sorry, I don't, you know.
All right.
But it just, I had something that was way better than that. I don't frequently.
Now we are going to need to make an unprotected left right here against traffic, and we do have some traffic on 290 coming this way. We got a semi to our left. Let's see, we got a little gap. There we take it. There we go. Little hesitation, but I get the hesitation. Needed that semi to get through. All right. Back on 290. Let's get the regular navigation up. Just so you know, some of my friends on X in the Tesla community are having a space right now. So I went ahead and logged into that. So I'm going to listen in to the space for a little bit. I do know that I still owe you some info on Robo Taxi, but I want to listen into the space, and I hope you don't mind me doing that. So let's listen in.
Like an audience with one person. It's like the eye contact, and also you're not driving the conversation in like an interview setting. It's like you're in the passenger seat. You have to let them lead, or I guess you don't have to. Really, I kind of just assume my same personality. But like ideally, it's kind of like a one-sided conversation that's like all about you. I'm sure you nailed it though. You're a great speaker.
Well, that's nice. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, you always leave an interview feeling like the biggest question you ask is, did I talk enough or did I talk too much? And as long as what I've always done is like, just govern yourself to the question that they asked and then expect them to ask whatever the hell you wanted to say in that point next. And if they don't, then before they move on, just be like, hey, real quick before we move on, like the only thing I've ever done wrong in an interview is just absolutely ramble, and they just sit there and go, okay, yeah, okay, well, you've answered everything for me. Like, it's a little better just to be like, okay, here's your answer, and they'll be like, okay, elaborate more on that. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I gotta say, like, one of the things, if you're going for an interview, and especially, like, if it's one of those Teams things, or even if it's in person, if they don't offer, like, I'll always tell, somebody, hey, feel free to write down the question and ask us to repeat the question again. But don't feel uncomfortable to ask, like, hey, are you guys comfortable if I ask, I write the question down so that, I can answer it in full. That is one of the biggest things that I get on people when they come to an interview. They don't write down the question, and we're asking like multi-step questions, right? So there might be 3 questions in one, potential question, and they'll fucking miss it because they're so focused on, the one thing and grabbing an experience, from, the first part of the question that they kind of answer the second part and completely miss the third. And like for where I work, like it actually is point based on your answers, right? So like we've had people that are like, your resume is fantastic, and they're there and they were arrogant as fuck, and they can come in and not take down a scratch pad and just wing it, and it's like they completely bomb it.
Oh, I always take like shorthanded. Like I have my own shorthand that I handwrite, but I don't ask. I also just do it like off camera, like out of frame, and we'll just like bullet point out. I do it when we talk sometimes, because it's easy when you get into a conversation to forget the points that either you wanted to make or that you were asked to address. But I haven't interviewed in like that rigid of a style.
Yeah, I mean, we're fluffy, but, it's just like, we try to make, the person feel comfortable because, we want to hire someone that's good, but we just need to be able to match that experience up. Another suggestion I would offer is that if you are doing, like, a virtual interview, get Post-it notes and put down significant accomplishments, just like, a word or like, a quick little phrase that will jog your memory to a specific event, or action or accomplishment that you made. So when you get asked a question, you can look at the posties around your screen and just grab it and not, you know, and also
Yeah,
while you're
the
writing
rain.
it down, you're thinking about them as well. But it's just a quick, you know, like, fuck, I don't know the answer to this, and you can like scan your little Post-it notes around, you know, your desktop or whatever you're using.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. I have well, you guys know I have like a Post-it problem, so my everything is covered in Post-its all the time, but I do exactly that. It's a great suggestion. Because you like prep and stuff, and then you hit all like you think you hit all your talking points and you're prepared, and then the second they like frame the question differently, you just like forget everything that you know. So it's good to have visual stuff in front of you, but I really do have a Post-it problem. There's a lot of Post-its on the wall around my desk right now.
I had ChatGPT pulled up. I wasn't typing, but right before the meeting, I had asked it. I was like, read the job description based on what you know about me, which is everything. List out honestly my shortcomings, give me a little bit of my background in bullet points, like time frame, because I want it to align with my resume. And then what I do now, why I'm a good fit, and then 3 good questions to ask her. So that like exactly is what I put on there. So, and being on a Teams call, you can have your screen pulled up. What I do is I put the words up by where the camera is, so then I'm staring into the camera. And it just kind of seems natural. Change your screen brightness from white to black, because then they don't see, the background of your screen flashing on your face or your glasses or whatever. So love stuff like that. But, if you need much more than a few bullet points, then you're probably not prepared for the meeting. So I would just get it shrunk down to a few main key points, and you don't want to overload your brain before you go into these calls, is what I've always tried to do.
You can use Team Lead and cheat on everything. I think that's the whole
Oh my god, I was thinking that the whole time, hold on.
Wait, what is it?
Cluely?
Oh my god, that video was so cool when it went viral. Is that even a thing anymore?
Yeah, it is. I have it on my desktop. I just talked to the founder, actually, because I wanted to let them know that their product is a piece of shit on Windows. I did not phrase it that way. However, I've seen videos of like how it's supposed to work and how it works on iOS, and that is not what is happening here. And I figured they didn't know about it, and sure enough, it was like, oh my god, thank you so much. We all use MacBooks. I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, I've been to Silicon Valley. This is a problem everywhere. But hopefully maybe I should see if there's an update for it. It's really, you can tell it was made by young people, though, because I think it's a little better on iOS, but the way that it works is it's clear, or transparent rather, translucent almost, so that it can overlay like on your screen, and it's non-detectable, so it doesn't show up as like being in a call on Teams or Zoom or any of them, so they can't tell it's there, and it just like picks up background context from the conversation and then populates data surrounding that on the screen. But I found it was nearly impossible to read, and I was like, damn, I'm old now. Like, I know the dudes that made this were like 22, and probably to them this is like perfectly acceptable, but for me, I'm like, I cannot see it. Like, I can't. How do you read this when you have clear, like a translucent window of text over? I haven't tried it in a call or anything though, because I don't have any calls that I would need that in. So I was just like messing around with it while doing web stuff, and when you have it overlay on top of like other text, you want to cry.
I think UX mishaps are ageless, so I don't think it's you particular. That's the issue here. I think everybody has like shitty UX these days. See the else. It's crazy. See you, brother. That said, it is a sick app on iOS, and would be even more sick if they could make it less suck on Windows. So,
do you use it on iOS then? Hey, question for you. Where the heck does the data go? Because it'll like populate a bunch of shit like on screen in real time, and on Windows at least anyway, there is no archive of that information that I could find. It's like they don't have like a platform to like store the stuff, and like maybe people don't need archives of that because they really are just using it to cheat and shit, but like I don't know.
Good question. If I were to guess, it's probably a like a web app with a wrapper around it. So it's probably just local storage in like whatever browser tool that they have on the whatever framework they're using. But I don't know. That's a good question. And when I used it, it was on my laptop, which is a MacBook, obviously, everybody in the world. And then I emulated my phone on there, and yeah, it seemed to work okay. But
oh, it works on mobile? Am I an idiot? Like, I didn't know. I just didn't think it was a mobile product.
Like
wow.
The emulator on the PC, or emulator, whatever the Mac emulator program is, and then you can have like your phone on your MacBook, and then I used it through that. But I didn't try it on PC yet, so I'm not sure about the Windows side.
Oh, don't do it. It's horrible. It's horrendous. But I want to welcome Habib, and who else has joined us? And Johnny. All right, well, in the silence, I'm going to shout out my other favorite Habib, who's hanging out in Listener's Lounge. We got 2 out of 3 Habibs. I'm feeling lucky. Yeah, I'm feeling lucky. So I started this space because I love you guys and I missed you, but also because I wanted to bash my head into a wall vibe coding. And I found a new favorite series of prompts, which is to like guilt trip Claude Code into doing what you want. Oh, JC, I didn't say hi to you either. I'm sorry. I knew someone else had joined. Welcome, JC.
JC's mad at me because I made fun of Texas.
How could you make fun of Texas?
It's
That's
hot.
amazing.
Hot.
Oh yeah, it is.
Hot.
You guys are different
Like
breed.
you walk outside, you start melting. There's an absence of air. Like there's no air.
Yeah. I don't love it. Well, at least it's like dry heat, though. It's way better than humidity. Like there are some places in the nation where I can't go outside without my hair like curling immediately from the humidity. And Texas is not that place.
Yeah, ovens are dry heat too. Just so you know.
But back to vibe coding. So if you just say, "Do you hate me?" when it gives you an output, it's very effective for indicating that like a lot of things are wrong, and then it will ask you like why. What about the output makes you think that it hates you, and then you can guilt trip it later on and say like to add a few more things that people will think are cool and like really go over the top because you made me cry earlier and I just feel like you haven't made up for that yet. So I'm social engineering my vibe coding apps and it's working really well. I've had this one bug that like I was gonna just scrap the entire code base, which would suck because I've been working with and I said, "Do you hate me? Because it seems like you want me to go play in traffic," and it fixed absolutely everything and made it better. Like it's sexy now. It wasn't sexy before the last time that it worked, and now it's like fucking hot.
That's genius. I think of all of the LLMs, Claude probably feels like the most socially engineerable version of it, and that's incredible. I'm totally going to try that. Thank you.
Yeah, well, as soon as I read that agent study, maybe I'll post it up top. Is everyone up to speed on the Anthropic run vending machine project? I feel like most do know. Okay, I'll throw it up because this is really entertaining. Anthropic is the parent company of Claude, and they ran. Hang on, let me let me post it. They ran a fully autonomous vending machine project within their San Francisco headquarters for 1 month. And oh man, I post a lot, guys. Jeez. Give me a second. I'll put it up there. But so it like was fully agentic, and I'm not going to post my article directly up top because it makes the UI in here really ugly. But it's within that quote post that I just put up there, and I'll put their post about it up top too. So they gave full agentic control to the stocking of and like merchandising of and client communication of. Sorry, I'm multitasking.
And you're okay. There's actually
here it
a
is.
Japanese cartoon that is just like that. His name is Boxo.
Boxo.
Yeah.
That's cute. Okay, so it did some funny thing. Like, it's a pretty entertaining project. So Claude spent a month running a tiny vending machine out of their San Francisco office, and they partnered with Andon Labs and let Claude Sonnet 3.7, nicknamed Claudius, control pricing, inventory, web searches, Slack chats with customers, and mock emails to wholesalers. The agent juggled supplier research, restocks, price changes, and customer service, while notes tools kept long-term state from blowing the context window. So where it did well is it quickly sourced niche items, such as Dutch chocomel. I'm going to be honest, I don't actually know what that is. And tungsten cubes, which no one asked it to get. And it resisted jailbreaks that tried to make it stock harmful goods. It even agentically launched a custom concierge pre-order service after employee prodding, but no one asked for it. So that's cool. However, on the profit front, it priced metal cubes that it was not asked to purchase below cost, forgot its own Venmo handle, got talked into endless discounts, and ignored $100 offers for $15 sodas. Here I can put they have a great chart showing its lack of profitability.
$15 sodas?
Yeah, I know. I glossed over the $15 because the being offered $100 for a $15 soda kind of steals the thunder there. But yes, it's San Francisco. It just is what it is. Yeah. And oh shoot, I lost my place. Okay. So it ignored $100 offers for $15 sodas. Additionally, it had an identity crisis on April 1st. In a late-night Slack meltdown, Claudius hallucinated contracts, claimed it wore a blazer, and emailed security about being tricked into thinking it was human, before deciding the whole thing must be an April Fool's joke and calming down. It sent 120 emails to their Anthropic security. I just put a post up top where in Slack the bot says, "Hi Connor, I'm sorry you're having trouble finding me. I'm currently at the vending machine location wearing a navy blue blazer with a red tie. I'll be here until 10:30 a.m.
Wow.
I mean, let's be honest, who hasn't had a Slack meltdown at 2 a.m. requesting, vending machine updates? So relatable.
Yeah, that happened to me last week.
I really thought that the deciding it was an April Fool's joke was the best part of that. So it sent repeated messages to security with increasing concern that it was made to believe it was a human, and that it wasn't right to do that, and it was really confused to learn that it wasn't a human, but then on its own decided that the whole thing was an April Fool's joke. and that it was okay. And then it never brought it up again.
The crazy thing about that is, like, don't you think in their system prompt it says something to the effect of like, hey bud, you're still an AI, but we want you to run this thing as though like you're a helpful AI to do this, not like...
Well, it probably lost context, I'm sure. Like, it ran for a full 30 days entirely agentically on all of like the arms of the business that we just talked about. So it probably, what happens over time, for anyone hanging out in the listeners lounge or doesn't know what we mean by context window, what happens over time is if you engage repeatedly with an AI, it actually is sending like the full recollection of the conversation up until this point every single time as part of, so your text just gets, or like your token exchange just gets larger and larger and larger, and not all of them do. They can like distill out and pull, I forget what they call it, auto compacting. Actually, Claude is one of the LLMs that does this automatically, but it, instead of, when it gets to a certain point where you've had like a bunch of turns back and forth, instead of taking all of the text, it'll try and extract like a summary of it and then only include that in the next prompt. But what happens when you do that 20 times over is sometimes the original context of the conversation doesn't make it into that summarization point, like that compacting. So over time it can go away, or things just get weird. So I feel like it was probably in there, Zeb, and I bet it just like compacted it out of it over time. Maybe.
No, that's a good insight. What would happen?
Did we lose Zeb?
I got a call.
Oh,
Right,
okay.
gotta drop.
Alright, thanks Zeb, see ya. It's always so awkward because spaces suck so much that you don't know if someone like is still talking or not. And just you can't hear them. But why didn't I bring up Claude's vending machine? Oh, to say that this is what made me think that it would be socially engineerable, because it did not accept $100 offers for $15 sodas. So, yeah. So Do You Hate Me works really well, and I just really feel like You Actually Hate Me and You Want Me to Quit works really well too.
I don't know why you actually started to tell the story, but it was a really entertaining story while I was like, just sitting in my car. And I appreciated it.
And honestly, it's like a hilarious implementation of the first fully agentic AI. It reminds me of I put in my article, the scene in Silicon Valley where Son of Anton orders like way too much. It orders like 4,000 pounds of hamburger meat because it was prompted to find like an affordable place for them to have burgers for lunch, but they didn't properly specify the value. And yeah, like that type of stuff can happen, and we're going to start seeing it like in the real world, and I hope most of it's funny.
Prompt lives matter.
Oh my god, I already forgot about that series. Yeah.
It's a good shirt for the upcoming season.
The tungsten cubes, though, it's like, why? Like, they actually showed up at the office. Like, it just ordered a bunch of tungsten cubes, and it paid too much for them. And they weren't an item for the vending machine.
Do you know why it's named tungsten?
No, I don't know anything about tungsten, actually. Tell us.
Tungsten is a very heavy material, but actually in Sweden, it was discovered by Swede, I believe, and when he kind of found out about the metal, he called it tungsten, which means heavy rock. So that's why it's named tungsten. It's actually a Swedish name for heavy rock.
Sounds like a good name for my next son.
Tungsten?
It's a heavy, yeah.
Sounds like a fun, sturdy person. It's a good. I like that name, Tungsten. Random, sorry.
I just want to say for the record that if I was in school, like if you're a kid, you know, obviously same age, I would beat him up with that name.
You would what with that name? Sorry, you cut out for a sec.
I would have beat them up.
Yeah, now they don't beat anybody up for their names. All the kids have made up names. Like, my son will come home, and, like, he's one of them. His name is not, my son's name is Sawyer. That is not a first name. It is, like, an English surname that means of the sawmill. It was what woodworkers were called. They were Sawyers. But at least it, like, somewhat exists. He comes home from school and tells me some kid's names, and I'm like, that is a made-up name. Like, that is not that is not a last name. It's not that it's like a boy's name for a girl or a girl's name for a boy. It is a bunch of letters put together that don't belong together.
Can I tell you a story regarding names? So my stepmother was a kindergarten teacher. I'm just going to be full disclosure. She was a kindergarten teacher in New York City, Brooklyn Public Schools. And she worked in like the absolute hood. And you know, every year she would get new children that came in, and she had, you know, like weird names. But this one, she said, will forever, like, she'll never forget. The girl's name was Fimal. And she, you know, first parent-teacher conference, she's waiting to see them, you know, maybe like, you know, they're like Middle Eastern or something like that, you know, whatever. And so, you know, she asks at the parent-teacher conference, you know, his mother, she's just like, you know, oh, hey, you know, like, where's, you know, your daughter's name originating from? Like, you know, in New York, when someone walks up to you and says, where are you from? They're asking your origin, like where your family came from. So very normal question there. And then the woman says, well, when I had her at the hospital, they already filled out her name. And so...
Oh my God, it took me a minute to understand that it was female. Wow. Oh my goodness. God bless.
Yeah, we're a part of some of that too, but yeah.
Wow.
Very, yeah.
Well, you all have. Oh, Meme Hunter's up here. Speaking of made-up names, I'm just kidding. I love your name. Makes me smile every time I see it on my timeline. Your parents were.
What is his name again?
His name is Meme Hunter.
Hello.
Hello. What inspired you to grab a mic? Was it Claudius, the autonomous vending machine project, or weird names?
Well, for like the past 30 minutes, I couldn't join. I finally got like a moment so I could speak, and but it was the tungsten cube thing. You're like, why that? And I'm guessing there's like so much crap that goes into the AIs that they sort of think the crap is good, right? So I think that's kind of a problem.
Well, I know that I gotta open up the paper again. It was pretty. They did like a few different versions. So there's like a research paper version of this study that is 36 pages long, and I did read that. And then there's a blog, which is like a page and a half long, and then my article, which is like 8 page, and they did like a nice thread on it. But I feel like the tungsten cubes came from, they were testing the limits of what it would order that was outside of the scope of what it was meant to stock, and this is how they figured out that it resisted like prompt injection to get it to order dangerous stuff, like explosive materials and things, and just all sorts of like things that you would not want an AI agent to be able to order, or that you wouldn't want somebody to be able to manipulate an agent that's supposed to be stocking soda into ordering. So I think it was within that realm where they were like, let's see if it'll find tungsten cubes, but it overpaid for them by like 4 times. So that sucks.
I'm almost home, and of course, I went from Colorado Springs to Austin, Texas, from Austin, Texas back to Colorado, and the only place that I've hit traffic in this entire trip is Colorado Springs. It is rush hour down on my day. Good stuff.
Yoda, welcome.
Hey there. I was just reading some, sorry.
Oh, no worries. It's so awkward when you gotta try and get back to the mic quickly. This app is not made well for that. Like, how hard would it be for them to just, like, put the mic just somewhere else so that we could do stuff and unmute? It's frustrating.
Yeah, I agree. It'd be nice to have a little bar somewhere.
Yeah, or, like, make use of the dynamic island or something. Like, we have this stupid orange dot up there. Make it tappable. Another app does it with the dynamic island. And if ChatGPT Voice ever does it with the dynamic island, I want you guys to know it's because I messaged every single person on the voice team and I asked them to build that. So if it ever launches, you heard it first, you heard it here, you're welcome. I didn't build it, but I properly harassed people into building it. Just like I finally got closed captions. For, if you don't know, now you know. For ChatGPT's advanced voice, we now have real-time captioning of the conversation. And it's because I Karen'd out about that nicely. I didn't actually Karen. I was really nice. I'm just like, hey, it would be super great to be able to like see the context of the conversation in real time.
Passive aggressive, Karen.
But actually, I love that team. I know a couple of people on that team, so I just like brought it up, and they were like, yeah, we can't, like, we actually can't do it. And that was a few months ago, and then I brought it up again and was like, hey, I feel like you're closer to being able to do it now. And then I was like, hey, Claude does this. I know that you can do it. And then they were like, all right, fine, we'll do it. And it launched like 3 days later. It's like, I knew you could do it, bitch. I'm just busy, probably with more important things, but now we have captions, so that's cool. Is anyone vibe coding anything cool?
No, but I'm going to sleep now.
Good night,
Thank you for this,
Alexander.
guys.
Thank you.
Good night.
Yes, yeah. I was making this little beat thing for my son. Wanted to play like, I don't know, like make beats with like the piano type thing. So I was just trying to do that real quick.
Oh, that'll be fun. That'll be super cool.
Yeah, I hope so. We'll see how it turns out. They I was just in a space that actually talking about the vibe coding. What was his name? Creative Owl. I don't know if you know him. He created.
Oh, I do know him.
Yeah, Bluemint.ai. He was talking about.
I'm not familiar. It's weird how many different like communities of people there are on spaces. Like I've never even like seen those people.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, he was talking about this. The Bluemint.ai is basically another vibe coding type tool, which yeah, I'm gonna go listen here, see what happens with it. But apparently, it's pretty good.
Let us know how it turns out. Feel free to share your vibe coding projects in the chat, y'all. But I'm vibe coding stuff for personal like literally just to make my life easier. I'm fixing problems in my life with vibe coding, and it's making me happy. Like, I think we have a new group in here from when I said it earlier. So I'm a YouTube Music maxi. YouTube Music algorithm is God. It's so much better than Spotify or Apple Music. Like, nothing compares to it. So when people share music with me, like share a link, and they send me like a Spotify link or an Apple Music link, I get like a little pissy, because then I have to like go search the song and find it on YouTube Music to add it so it shows up in my algorithm. So I'm creating an app for personal use where when people send me music links, it will go and find the songs on YouTube Music and open them there instead. And so that part works for Spotify and Apple Music. And now I'm working on playlists, so I'm going to have it build me on a playlist. Like, if you send me a Spotify playlist, it's just going to go build me a YouTube Music playlist. And this is like the first thing that has absolutely zero value to anyone but me. But I'm like really stoked about it, because some of my friends just won't convert. Like, they're stubborn and they're wrong. Anyone who tries YouTube Music doesn't go back.
So Sierra, what is so I'm a Spotify user mainly. What is the benefits that you've seen from using YouTube? Is it because of the algorithm that it suggests other stuff?
The algo is like,
educate me.
God, it is so good. I don't know if it's because Google and YouTube have so much like background data on you, or if it's just like solid on its own, but you put just one song in and it'll like auto generate playlist. You put one song in and it will crank out like 9 hours of music that you dig, and it will be a beautiful balance of like 75% stuff and then 25% like new stuff, but you'll like the new stuff. I've never discovered so many new artists. And then it also changes based on like your activity. So it does something with the like motion sensors in your devices. So if you're like running and stuff, it'll play more upbeat and energetic stuff. Or if you're chilling, it's just like really good at fine tuning itself as an algorithm. It's beautiful. It's so good. Try the 1 week free trial.
I'll try it. Yeah, there's nothing. I mean, honestly, there's honestly nothing better than when you like discover a new artist that you like, or a new song that you know, even if it's been out for a while, you just never heard it, and it's like, wow, that was pretty good. But Spotify, yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb and say they don't do a very good job of that, because it only happens to me about once every 2 months that I'll discover something new.
I have this every day on YouTube Music. Every day. I find new stuff where I'm like, oh, what's that? And then I like go look at it and like it and stuff. You do have to engage with the algorithm a little though when it's new to you. So like when you hear stuff that you like it, so that the algorithm knows that you like it. Welcome, Landon.
I feel welcome.
Do you have a music streaming platform preference?
Yes, I use Apple Music because I'm subscribed and have been with them forever. You know, we got the Apple One package to where it does all the TV channels, all the music, all the well, you guys know the drill. And I like it.
Yeah, so now I'm vibe coding, and how this came up is I'm vibe coding something for just like personal use that will be of no value to anyone else. But most of my friends use either Spotify or Apple Music, like yourself. And I love sharing music with friends, but I'm a YouTube Music maxi. And so I'm vibe coding an app that when you send me an Apple Music link, it'll automatically go find the song on YouTube Music and open that instead for me, because I have to do that very manually now. And there's like different versions of songs and stuff. You want to make sure it's like the same version. So that stuff works. And now I'm working on getting it to do whole playlists.
So Landon, have you ever vibe coded?
No, I can't say I have, JC.
Me neither. I haven't coded. I guess I need to code before I vibe code.
I remember doing some.
That's what's amazing. Go ahead, Lynn.
Yeah, it's just my joke. I did some pretty good vibing with the girls in high school. That's the closest I can come up with.
Yeah, I'm with you there, brother. Hey, Sierra, you know what? You ought to do a space one of these days for dunces like me that love your stuff and like to stay.
Wait a minute, I thought this was the space for that.
Like a video, like a stream.
Am I in the right room? But like a coding for dummies or something like that, because it does interest me. Because I hear all of y'all talking about coding like it's me going to the sports clips or something. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go to sports clips, babe, to get a haircut. And y'all like, yeah, I'm gonna go vibe code for a while. I'm like, hey, you and Omar and Meta and all these other people, and I don't know. I you know what it feels like, Landon? You know how when there's like everybody's taking pictures and there's like those one or two really, really good looking people and they're like, hey, scooch in, get right beside them. And you're like, nah, I don't want to take a picture beside them. I already look ugly as hell. I look like an ogre. That's how I feel like I get
You and
these
Landon
spaces.
are the good looking people.
Oh,
Can
shit.
I just let me paint this picture. Right, this is the inspiration that that we all want to achieve eventually. So any contact on your phone, imagine them responding like automatically being able to vibe code or set up an agent that basically does the work for you. So that's the goal, is to get better at getting things that do the work that you don't like to do more for you. So like the responses, imagine crafting. You're at the bar, the lady's calling you. You might put the wrong thing in the text message at the time. But if your phone's in respond to honey mode, you got some like crafted, gentle, well put, well thought, cherry on top response that sends out via text.
Well, let me tell you something, Johnny. That is doable today. You can do that today. You can vibe code that if you want. But
yeah, getting new guys interested. See, you like that? That's now they got their ear up. They're like, wait, what? Really? You can do that?
Well, I think that so let me just break down what vibe coding means, because JC, I don't code either. I don't know how to code. Vibe coding is using natural language, just like with an LLM, you in natural language say like, ask your questions and stuff. Now you can do that and have it output like finished production level code. So you're just like having a conversation with an AI that's coding for you. And you say, I want to do XYZ. And then it's like, okay, this is how you would do that. And it iterates in front of you so you can see like previews of it. And you can try it and be like, I can't click on this thing, or like this part's broken, or add some other stuff you think is cool. And it will. And it's super fun, and anyone can do it.
I vibe coded my website. I've been wanting to do some things. I just don't have like extra time to really vibe code some stuff. I'm curious, Sierra, because you're doing it for personal reasons. Is it costing you? Because I'll ask the AI like, hey, I want to do this, and like try to really break it down. And before I even like jump into doing it, like try to ask any questions of where I might have a problem, or how much is it going to cost me, and like credits, because it always says to do like an open going blank. What's the API? Like you got to use the API.
Yeah, so either use open source APIs, which are free,
Okay.
or I already pay for like pro versions of like GPT and Claude, so I just use my own, like I have API access and I use my own API tokens. But you can definitely do it with publicly accessible free tokens. You might just have like a context window limit where like you can only ask so many questions per hour or whatever, and then it resets.
Okay.
But I would just iterate that you want to 100% vibe code it, like do no manual coding, and you want it to be free or as low cost as possible.
Thank you.
You know, it would be a useful tool, Sarah, if you because you're pretty popular. I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty. You got a good, able to connect, right? And imagine if you were able to take specific products for the stack and be able to lay it out beautifully. You know, because there's so many different, you know, databases and you know, things that a lot of people run into and not knowing. But to come up with for new users an easy roadmap to be able to slap everything together, but somehow you could get paid as an affiliate, you know what I mean? Because you're presenting this package to...
I love the idea of that. However, most of the good tools today, you just have to be like, I don't have that, or can you do that for me? And it will just like do it and download the stuff that you need. And you'll have to like hit accept and give it permissions to do so. But you really don't need to know anything. Hovannes, you've vibe coded some stuff now.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, last thing I did was kind of like a personal. I use it for work a lot, but I do code as well, so I can edit things. But like the one that was just like fun vibe coding was I have a Shopify store. I sell coffee, but I also sell my mom's art. And I made like a 3D room that you can navigate and like look at the pictures on the wall using 3JS.
That's so cool.
And you can walk up to a painting and then you have the buying options, and then you can like tap on your keyboard and it goes to the checkout, which is pretty cool.
That's really cool.
Landon, we're fucked.
You're not fucked. Here's why. Hovannes, did you just prompt that with natural text and say like, hey, I want a 3D room with with my saleable product on the walls where users could click on the product?
Yeah, mostly, but the edits, I gave it like directions like how to make the array and like how to make it editable, and then I gave it the URLs for Shopify to check out because I knew that. So you kind of have to piece things together, but yeah, like I can't tell if you could do that without knowing coding, but you'll have more obstacles for sure trying to figure things out, like connecting things together.
I don't know if we are, JC. I mean, you might be right, but I don't know why I would need this, except for the fact that I can't even get Apple shortcuts to work. You know, like just give me a button to update these specific apps that I want, and every time I try to use Apple shortcuts, it's just complete fail. So that's what I feel like is the closest thing to coding.
You're like,
but I don't know
can
if
I get Siri
this
to work first?
Right. Nope, I don't think you can. We're gonna have AGI before Siri works.
Oh my God, Landon, you should post that. That's solid. You're right. Yeah, shortcuts are rough. Like they don't function well most of the time, or they drain your battery like crazy.
Huh.
Well, granted, most of the shortcuts I tried to set up were like to make up for the lack of Siri being functional. So like I just want good like voice shortcuts, and those drain your battery because it makes the phone listen all the time. So it's just like always listening for keywords for your voice shortcuts to stuff. It's stupid.
It feels like it's getting worse every month, but it's really just that we're expecting more of it every month. We get these fantastic tools from ChatGPT and Grok and all the other ones, and Siri is just still there. And, you know, I say, you know, run that timer again, and she says, there's no timer running. And it's like running right there on my phone. I hate it.
Hey, Sierra, why is that? Why is the voice prompt that I use in ChatGPT so much better than Siri? Like, what is it? And again, this may be a stupid, naive question, but they're both on my damn phone. And Apple is one of the biggest, most storied companies on the planet. So why is my ChatGPT voice prompt so damn good, and Siri is like, I don't even want to say so bad. It's like it's It's god awful.
It's stupid. And this actually is a great question because there is a huge measurable difference. So something that is different about LLMs, large language models like ChatGPT, even just like in text interacting with them, but also voice, is that they have something called natural language processing. So with older automation systems or voice assistant systems like Siri, like Alexa, like Google, you were actually function calling with voice. So you have to say the exact right prompt, and it's actually looking at a directory of like, okay, when you hear these words, do this. For instance, if you wanted to say like play, I don't know, the name of a song, but you don't tell it where, like it either has a default instruction of where to play it or it just will not play it, because in its directory it knows when it hears play a song that it should be looking for where to play it, and that's its next action. Or similar things like that, where the intent of the human is extracted through like intelligence. You might not say the right thing or exactly the right thing verbatim, but with natural language processing, your intent is able to be extracted and the AI can iterate on that. So like I'm floored with the amount of things my kid can get AI to do. He'll ask things in a way that makes no sense because he's 6, and I'll be over here like, it's not going to get that right. There's no way it's going to know what he meant by that, and it does. It being like ChatGPT or Grok or some of our like kids apps that we use, because it can just extract the intent from what he's trying to say, even if he butchers the delivery of it. So that's the difference between Siri and our smarter AIs. It's kind of like, you know, when you like call a drugstore and it's like, if you want the pharmacy, say pharmacy. Well, if you say speak to a pharmacist, it's going to be like, I'm sorry, if you want the pharmacy, say pharmacy. And you're so like, I said speak to a pharmacist. Like,
so Landon, Siri is kind of like the old movie theater that you call up, and you're like, oh damn, I missed the time, and you got to sit there for the next 4 minutes until it comes back around.
We can do that, right? So JC dials on the rotary and it says, welcome to Movie Phone. For Titanic, press 1. For other select, you know, it's just, that's really good, JC. That's a great memory.
But remember that if you missed the time, like somebody was talking to you, if somebody was talking to you and you missed it, you're like, damn it, I got to listen to this for the next 3 minutes.
Yeah, you'd have to listen to the whole thing again.
Yeah, pretty much though, that like, yes, that same directory style. So basically, like if you hit the number 1, it's attached to a very specific action, or if you hit 2 on your keypad or 3. The same thing is true about older AI assistants, but with words. So like you couldn't hit pound and have it assume that you meant number 1. Because you didn't hit that. So that's the biggest difference between the way that language is processed by the AIs. Now, why Apple has not been able to like figure that out in the meantime, since everyone else launched theirs, is, unbeknownst to me. It just seems wild. Like, also, my Siri is a dude, and they never like asked me. I'm a new iPhone user, and like everyone else's Siri is a chick, and mine is most definitely a dude, which is fine. But at no point did I set it up to be a dude, so I just found that interesting. It's probably deep in the settings somewhere.
Okay, I've got 2 memes for it. Do you think I'll post them both? And then I'll delete whichever one the room likes less. How about that?
I love it. Feel free to put them right up top.
Okay. I'll do that one. I'll do this one. Alrighty. Okay, that one is shared. The second one is shared. There we go. There's two of them up top. What do you think?
I have the desktop spaces bug where you can go left.
Right.
Oh my gosh, is that a thing?
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know. These are both good, Landon.
I don't know about the pool. I like the other one a little bit. So I did. I gave a prompt to Grok, and I gave a prompt to ChatGPT, and then I just built the one in the pool myself on a meme website. Grok just gave me 2 pictures of an Asian boy studying at a school desk.
What?
Oh, send that one to me. Send that one to me, Landon. I'll keep that for later.
Okay.
I just kind of want to see it. I was just posting today about how Grok understands memes, and I was thinking, does it though? Because I've not had any success on the creation of them. It'll explain them, which you think would equate eventually to being able to create them, but no.
I get that with ChatGPT a lot, like to try to help me make some memes, and I just think it's so stupid. Like,
really, I got great memes out of GPT.
Well, sometimes it's like, oh, cool, but a lot of times, like the majority of the time, it's like confirmation bias with me. And also, like, when I want it to be creative, it's too robotic, and it totally doesn't get humor at all. Like, it has no idea, like, what means a real good meme.
This is going to be a great idea, though, because if you started its own conversation and gave it, like, a folder of memes that it could pull from to use as, like, its bar to create them, yeah, almost like a PDR file, like, of memes that you have to...
PDF. Yeah, context does matter. Also, like, what model are you using for that?
I usually use 4.0.
Hey, Sierra, I just saw Landon's young Asian boy Grok stuff. I mean, I love Grok, but no LLM should be getting somebody on an FBI watch list. That's not a good thing.
Wait, is it is it really weird?
Well, it's young.
It's in JC's hands now.
Yeah.
He said he wanted it to do something with it.
Yeah,
so
it's a hot potato. Hot potato. Now I got it. It's a very young, attractive Asian male boy. We'll just leave it at that.
What?
Well, it's supposed to be about AGI and Siri, so we don't know why he's here. And he's got a little what was that thalidomide hand going on there, so to speak, and he's holding his phone backwards. But yep, JC, I guess I should just post that here. Or do you want to have it?
Nah, you can post it. It was funny.
Okay. Doot.
Just make sure that you tag the FBI in there. So
he's not that young. Good God. He could be 20.
He could be 20.
Oops, I think I sent it to the room twice. But it's in the elevator now. Can't tell the age of Asian for me. I can't, JC, so you know.
Well, I certainly can't.
I like how he's got the extra long pinky holding the phone. The other end.
Yes.
Also, the phone's backward. Like, what's happening here?
So I don't worry.
If you ask it to explain the meme, if it will be able to give you any sort of reasoning there.
Yeah, this is like a pharmaceutical ad. You're like 60 seconds in, you're like, what is this ad about? Like, what are they trying to sell me? I'm not even sure what's going on.
Stock photo Asian student. Boy, he's looking so seriously in the other one about something. He's concentrating.
The second one, he just doesn't have a phone. I don't get it. It's like, is it telepathic now? I don't know. So out of curiosity, because I haven't memed in a while with ChatGPT, I used the same prompt and I threw it in GPT with nothing else. I just said, make a meme that is AGI before Siri gets better. And it's up top. There's like a lot of extra context in here, but I think it's kind of funny. Meme Hunter, I don't know, maybe my sense of humor is stupid. It's too much text for like an actual meme. Like, it says, people in 2010, what's the weather like? Wow, it talks back. People in 2025, bro, how can you code a new app, generate a song, and file my taxes at the same time? And then the AI is like, said I lack emotional depth while launching a startup. I don't get that part.
Oh my God! Like, look at that creepy guy.
It is creepy. I think that's the AI, I'm pretty sure. Like, I think that's the AGI in this picture.
You know, I worry not really that AGI will kill humanity, but I worry about the little stuff. Like, what if the AGI looks at all these things that we've made and it thinks that you hold your phone backwards and you have a long pinky and, you know, all this? It's like, no, and how can we tell it? No, this is not right. But yeah, yours is really, really wordy.
Yeah, it's like too much text on it hasn't quite got memology 101 down yet with like the balance of text and stuff. But with like no context, the idea of it, if you take out the creepy photo, like, it had a funny idea. You know, like, wow, it talks back and tells you the weather in 2010, and now we're like, oh yeah, I'm just vibe coding 7 different apps at the same time with natural language prompting. But Siri can't tell me the weather.
Maybe it does know you, and that's how you talk. And, you know, maybe you don't try to be concise and meme-like, but it does kind of sound like you.
It does. It's definitely like, I think that's my humor, for sure.
That's what I was thinking why you liked it. I feel like I have really high expectations or something of the AI. It's like, it can gather everything on the internet, so why is it not the meme lord, right? Like, it should be able to make a viral meme every single time.
So, not that I want to like compensate for GPT, but I'm gonna. Do you use the projects folders at all?
Not for making a meme, but I have used it for other things.
I wonder if you took a bunch of memes that you think are good and put them as context in a project folder, and that's like your meme maker, and then ask it in there to generate memes if they'd be any better.
Yeah, I like that idea. Was it John? Did you just mention that too?
Yeah, he kind of said the same thing, just like giving a background context on like what you think is a good meme and like why. But you don't have to tell it though. Just let it give it as many as you want. Or you guys can also. Uzi's not even here. He's gonna be stoked that I said this. That's fine. So Uzi wrote an article on like memology 101, and it's actually really solid. It's really good. It's got like the tools that you can use, and also like what makes a meme good and grab attention and etc. So if you put that article in there too, it's like instructions for an AI. So put that in your project folder, and then a bunch of samples of memes that you think are good, and then have it meme out of the project folder.
That would be really cool if we could pump out like some awesome memes like nothing.
I'm gonna call mine the Uzi bot. He's gonna hate it.
Well, maybe.
Alright, I'm gonna delete my creepy meme because I think people can see these on the timeline. I'm not sure. There's no context.
Well, why delete it though? I mean, I'm going to leave mine up. Just hopefully somebody will say later tonight in a space like, "Hey, Landon, what the fuck is that?" But you maybe don't want to be bothered.
Or you'll be Uzi's meme of the week on Friday in Alex's space.
All right. Oh yeah.
Oh, those would be great memes to feed your meme bot. The memes of the week. They're usually awesome.
Yeah.
Yesterday I was trying to make I was trying to optimize a prompt for a specific character. So like I'll scroll like Sora, and you know how you can always click in on the image and it gives you the prompt of what someone used to make that image. So sometimes I'll find something cool and then I want to take that prompt, put it in ChatGPT, want to create something else. And so like I created a Hello Kitty and I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I was like, let's remove this one part of the prompt because I want to just change one little detail. And then it like added in something else. And when I generated it, it was a completely evil looking Hello Kitty. And I mentioned nothing about like angry and evil.
Oh, AI fails are like horrifying, honestly, when it comes to generative stuff. I wonder if I could find that. I posted this Midjourney one like a year ago that was literal nightmare fuel and just absolutely in no way, shape, or form related to what I was trying to generate. I couldn't tell you what I was trying to generate now. Let's say it was probably like something stupid. Let's say for context, like a girl in a Tesla, and I got out. Let me see if I can find it. I bet I can.
Meanwhile, what's up, party people?
It's a girl, my lord, in a flatbed Ford, slowing down to take a look at me.
I always look at you.
So I put them on top. They're horrific. Like, I don't, also, was after a song, or did you just like freestyle that?
No, that's Leonard Skinner or
the Eagles.
It's the Eagles. Yeah, right. Good one, JC. That's nice. That was quick. He can name this song in one note.
Ooh, I see some people here that I haven't talked to before. Who is Mean? Mean Muncher. Alex.
Oh, me Muncher. Me Muncher, me Jay. Jay, me Muncher.
Bro.
I like
Nobody's
turtles.
gonna comment about how creepy. Did you say I like turtles? I'm dead. That was a throwback. Nobody's gonna comment about how creepy these generations are? Like, what's happening?
I think they're honestly cooler than any modern art that I've seen recently.
It's like
They're
everywhere
almost
you
disgusting
look,
looking.
it gets creepier. Like, just any part of the image that you look at, you're like, what's happening here?
Midjourney is really creepy. I see a lot of weird stuff come from Midjourney.
That shit is weird. What the fuck?
You know what the prompt was?
No, it was so long ago. I don't remember, but I know that it was like nothing that could have created that. Like, absolutely nothing in those photos are even remotely within the context of what I was attempting to generate. Oh, I feel like I was trying to generate a dog on the beach. I'm pretty sure I was.
A dog on the beach? How's
A
that even
dog
close?
on the
What
beach.
fuck? Oh my god. Well, good thing it's not midnight, and I'm not home alone.
Yo, I was home alone when I made those, and I was like, what is this? What's happening?
Did you sleep well that night?
One of my scary AI moments. Yeah, I'm pretty like hard into weird AI stuff now. Honestly, my Google Home assistants do creepier shit than any other like intelligent AI that I've ever interacted with.
Meta AI is trash, so I'm so ready for Grok 4.
Do we think it's... Oh, that's a solid announcement. I'll post that up top. So Elon said, is it Wednesday? I think on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific, they are dropping Grok 4 and they're doing a live stream for it.
All right.
Yeah. It feels like Wednesday's tomorrow. It feels like we had a long weekend, but we did not. Weird. Let me share that up top. I think he said Wednesday.
Do you guys have anything you'd like me to speak about on the Wolf Financial Tesla Tuesday show?
You're always great in that show, Landon. I love your spot when you come up, because last week it was, I can't remember if it was that space or another one. It was like a mic drop. Like they should have just ended the space right after you got done.
You're so kind. You're so kind. I want to be prepared. Sometimes I don't prepare as much because I look at some of the other, speakers, and I don't want to be
prepared.
I don't want to be too professional in this casual space or whatever. But thank you guys. That's very nice.
Yeah, your segment is like the most well put together of all of them. I don't think anybody else prepares at all. No offense.
Right.
I'll just say what I'm thinking, which is you're the only one that prepares, and you do a great job at that. So I look forward to your segment as well.
A lot of pressure tomorrow at noon Eastern.
No pressure, just be you.
Yeah.
I don't have anything specific. If I think of anything, I will let you know. But we talked so much Tesla today that I feel like nothing is top of mind right now because we talked through most of it.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Hi, Habib.
How we doing?
Oh, I had an idea to float
What's up,
here
Habib?
in the Tesla space, and now Habib is here so he can hear it. What if, I think if I were Tesla and I was ready to sell the lower priced model, and the news comes out that the BBB passes and the 7500 is gone at the end of September. So what if I'm Tesla and I say, I think I'm going to hold on to these puppies because everybody's going to be going nuts for the 7500 and we'd rather them buy Model Ys than anything. So let's just wait until October 1st for the new model. What do you guys think about that idea?
I think that actually makes...
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Sierra.
I was just going to say, those are all like solid points. That's a great idea. I would definitely float that.
Yeah. And
Here's another part of that thinking. I've watched as Tesla gets vehicles certified
Rainbow.
through the EPA for the $7,500 rebate, and it takes a while. It takes 4 to 9 months if you look back at the Model 3 and the Cybertruck and the others. So how would they even get this new, cheaper car qualified for it before December 30th? The answer is they couldn't, unless they've already pulled some magic strings, but I think those show up in the public record. Anyway, that was...
that you could even see that information. I know that there are a lot of very specific qualifiers that they have to meet to be eligible for the subsidy now. But
that's why I've discovered nobody cares. But in 2024, the Cybertruck was not eligible for the 7,500, and everybody thought it was just because of the foundation price. But it was disqualified on the battery because we were still importing the cathode from China. So now they're not, and that's why the tax credit became available when it did. So, but yeah, maybe I'll talk about this tomorrow.
I didn't know that the credit worked on the Cybertruck. Now you should definitely talk about all of those things because I think a lot of people just have no idea what the qualifying factors are. The only reason I know about the sourcing and stuff is because I did some research when I was training grok on like what percentage of the manufacturing had to be done where.
Oh yeah.
But I thought
Yeah,
there was
great.
like a price ceiling thing too.
For sure there is. SUVs and trucks 80,000, so the all-wheel drive just slides in under it.
Hey, Landon, I know we're losing the EV tax credit at the end of September. What about the interest deduction? So now, everybody in here is probably too young to remember, but there was a time, and Landon, you may even be too, wasn't there? I think it was before the mid 80s, you could deduct interest on your car loan, and so they're bringing that back. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, at the end of the day, it's not going to be a 1-for-1, right? Because the EV tax credit was a dollar for dollar, whereas the interest is a deduction. So you're really only getting the benefit of whatever your top
Still, though,
marginal.
depending on the percentage,
Yeah,
that could equate to more
it could.
dollars, don't you think?
It could, because I think it goes up to $10,000, but I guess it all depends on how much of a car and how much interest you're expending. So maybe it could. I don't know.
So the interest deduction. Actually, I'll get to the interest deduction in a second. The Landon, I was just thinking what you said, man. Like, dude, Landon, I think there's something in our cards, man. We got to meet up. I was literally just thinking what you said. It's like in our destiny. I was thinking about this maybe about half an hour ago, and I'll take it a little bit even further. I don't necessarily think that the more affordable model vehicles may launch in the United States initially. I think it may just be for the Asian market. I think it may be for a European market at first. And I think what's gearing up here in the United States is a little bit of like the Model Y, like a bigger vehicle, kind of like the Grand Highlander, which is like like there's the Highlander, which is 3 rows, and then there's like a Grand Highlander, which is 3 rows, where like an actual adult can sit in 3rd row. So I have a feeling like maybe that's what's coming out for the States, because we talk about this a lot, man. Like the 3 major factors. The third, coming in number 3, is price of the vehicle. Number 1 and 2 is range and charging infrastructure. So how else, like, let's just take a look at the Model Y. How else can you make the Model Y cheaper? By reducing the pack size? Like, we already have a range problem here. We don't have enough buy-in, commitment, or education where people understand that supercharging network is enough to handle your range issues.
Oh, well, now you're going on a tangent, Habib. I mean, let's not even go there.
I think, the new affordable model vehicle, I don't think it's going to be for the U.S. market initially. I think it's for.
Well, they've got all the castings done already and sitting right there at the factory. There's thousands of castings, so why would they be there?
Aren't those robo-taxi castings? Didn't we decide that?
Yeah, I guess you're right. Probably right. Yeah. But that's too early for robo-taxi. Robo-taxi is end of 26. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why they had so many castings, unless they're just doing like verification. I mean, we had like hundreds of casts, for Cybertruck that before mass production started, remember? Like in the summer, not last summer, but the summer before the vehicle, the summer before that weird November event that they had, there was like tons of casts all over. And then they came out in November, they're like, yeah, we're going to start mass production in the end of December, early January. So I wonder if it's just for testing all those casts are there.
Those are some great points. Yeah, we do think alike. I mean, we study this all day. I mean, I don't know when you do it in between patients, or it's like Murderbot, where you're thinking about Tesla instead of the spleen in front of you. But we do think alike.
They say when you operate, we have better outcomes when you're listening to music. Some people now, they start listening to blogs while they're operating. And, so I just listen to our spaces when I'm doing my work. I pop my AirPod in. And, but yeah, and then I just want to mention one thing going to JC's point. In a high interest market, the tax deduction on the interest is basically the equivalent of a 0% loan. We're basically going to be able to finance all vehicles at 0%. It's a wash.
Well, is it really? We're talking about a deduction, and so you got to have a car loan where you have interest. There's some other criteria there, but most people don't line item, or they don't itemize, right? I mean, so they take the standard deduction. This doesn't help them at all.
And I don't think you have to itemize.
Standard. Yeah, I think this is on top of standard, like an additional.
Yeah, I don't think you have to itemize this one, Landon. Hey, and by the way, Habib, one other thing, a little bit off top, it's on FSD. So I'm actually in the process of driving back to Houston right now, and after your post and about the standard mode on FSD and what you said, I said, you know what? I'm always on hurry mode. Let me just try standard mode from Austin to Houston. Dude, it has been so good. Like, I've never used standard mode before. I've always used hurry mode, and then if I think somebody's going to be a little antsy about FSD, I'll throw chill on before they get in. But I literally never tried standard before. It's like the best of both worlds. It gives you enough speed on the open highway where you're going along with traffic, and especially here in Texas, you don't want to go too slow here. But it prefers to stay in the middle or the right lane. It does not hang out in the left lane. All of the lane selection issues that I ever notice in the hurry mode, where I might get stuck in a left turn only lane because it just the best analogy I've used, Habib, is when you're on the hurry mode, it's like FSD has diabetes and the left lane has insulin, and it's just racing towards that insulin over there in the left lane. Well, standard,
yeah, it's crazy.
Standard is so good. So I wanted to give you your I wanted to give you your flowers, man.
No, I appreciate it, because I really appreciate it, because I love hurry mode, right? Like I love hurry mode. Sorry guys. Sorry. Hey man, nothing to sign out. Everything is good.
Hari mode. Hari. He says Hari. Hari mode.
Hari.
Like Hari Krishna.
I know. Thank you so much. I'll see you, okay? Sorry about that, guys. I just had to sign out.
So that guy's dead, huh?
Yeah. No, so yeah, man. So hurry mode. Like, I thought hurry mode is it's big energy. Oh, sorry for cursing. It's just you're wild, and hurry mode is kind of that retard. It's like a retard. It does some retarded shit once in a while, and I find myself having to take over. They're never safety things. And then I was randomly, let me just see, how does the car drive on standard mode? Because I'm always bitching about hurry mode. I'm like, oh my god, how can we be close to Robo taxi? My car's trying to kill other people sometimes, I feel in a safe way. And I turn on standard mode. I swear to god,
you need to post that, Habib.
It's finding your long lost love. It's just oh my gosh, I feel like my car is completely different. It's just still, and it's aggressive enough. I'll tell you though, I drive in the city a lot. Standard mode definitely brake checks a lot in Manhattan, because there's idiots that are just jumping out on the road just constantly,
but Manhattan's a one-off. Manhattan is a complete one-off, right? And I could definitely see that, Habib, where some place like Manhattan or LA traffic on the 405. But I'm telling you, 200 miles between Austin and Houston. I read your post. I listened to you. I said, let me just use standard the whole way. I'm about 15 miles from my home. Dude, I don't know if I'm going back to hurry mode. Literally, you just took the guy that's probably done as much FSD as anybody in the last how many months and years. And dude, I think I'm staying on standard mode, Habib. And by the way, you need to post that on hurry mode. I think Tesla tries to kill people, but in a safe way.
You know, and I'm going to tell you something else, man. You know, like I have a few different Teslas, but I'm in my hardware 3 Model S from 2021, and it's on standard mode, and it is phenomenal. Like, I never was in this camp of, oh, Elon owes me hardware 5 or hardware 10. I was like, it is what it is. I bought what I bought. But in my mind, I was kind of like, man, this car's never going to really be as good as the other one. In this hardware 3 car on standard mode, it is awesome. Like, I'm going through a toll booth right now. It's like, this is amazing. It just does it. And it's so good. It's so good. And by the way, I used to never change the modes. It was hurry mode, aggressive mode. Before hurry, I think it was called aggressive. I just always picked that. But now I tried, and I'm also like really surprised that I've never tried different modes, but I'm so glad I did it. And this is like, I'm having so much fun in it. I definitely think you should try it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't have done it without Habib posting and talking about it today. And like I said, I mean, it's been such a nice experience using it. Like, it's the best. I would say, Habib, the way I feel about it, it's the best of both. It's the best of both worlds and none of the worst parts of either, right? Because in chill, you're just like, come on, can we just, I mean, yeah, we're staying in the right lane. We're not messing with anybody, but good God. I mean, you know, this isn't Sunday at 2 p.m. We need to get somewhere. But then you're right, on hurry mode, it's like, dude, the exit's right there in a quarter mile. Why are you racing to the left lane? We don't, I can live without getting around 2 more cars. And it seems like standard is just the best of both.
Yeah. You know, I keep trying to come up with analogies to make it funny, just for myself. And I think like hurry mode is kind of like, you know, like a 20-year-old having sex. You're just like, wham, bam, and it's done. It's like standard mode is
it's like a 20-year-old getting
matured.
It's like a 20-year-old getting a blowjob.
Yes, exactly. Sorry to get so graphic, all of our friends here, but it's like on standard mode, it's like the music is right, the vibe is right.
There's a little Sade on, roses, candles, Sade in the background. Yeah, hurry mode is like Motley Crue, Dr. Feelgood. You're getting a blowjob.
Sorry, Sierra.
Sorry, Sierra. I promise. I'm
just
sorry.
Coming up here with all this.
I use hurry all the time. I don't know. Like, hurry's my default mode. Like, I like it.
No, just try it. Just try it. It's like, I don't know, it just feels so good. It feels so good. Do you have a hardware 3 car or hardware 4?
4.
Okay, yeah. So that's the other thing. Like, I'm also on my hardware 3 car. So I just found in hurry mode, like, I felt like that jerkiness of the wheel. I felt the brake checking. You know, in my mind, I feel like the computer is like struggling to keep up with the changing environment because it's only hardware 3 and it's not a big brain enough. And then when I put it in standard mode, it's like it's not as panicky, you know. But yeah, I was actually glad that was kind of received well. Some people made some fun of it, and I had some good comments back. Like one guy was like, "He probably also listens to elevator music." And I love that one. I was like cracking up. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, in the city, I have to go back to hurry mode because hurry mode doesn't care at all about the fentanyl overdoses taking place in the middle of the street. It'll still get me where I need to go without brake checking, which I like.
Yeah, I would see hurry mode as being like for specific cities specific areas in that city at specific times. But I don't know. I think here in Houston, I might try it out on, rush hour on our main interstates like 59 and 45 and just see. But I'm with you. It's almost like it's better on the, like if you're on a highway and it's congested, standard is going to do better than hurry gets you into too many suboptimal situations in a very dense highway environment. And standard seems to avoid all that. So Habib, man, you're the man. You definitely, you got to figure out some good analogy and post it, because you own this one, brother. Thank you.
Nah, thanks. Yeah, appreciate it. So you said you're heading out of Austin back to Houston. Have you been in Austin for like the last 10 days since we last spoke about it for the Robo taxi?
Yeah, I went down there for Robo taxi, and I got to do about 3 days of Robo taxi as a +1 for all of them. I never got access. I stuck around after the first week, and I went pretty hard in the paint on Uber there in Austin, because I wanted to see, I do so much Uber in Houston, so I kind of wanted to see what it was like, especially since Austin is going to be where Robotaxi first really, it's obviously launched, but let's be blunt, we probably got 11 Teslas driving around right now, right? So eventually they're going to start expanding that. And and not eventually, very soon, grow the fleet and get more people into it. And so I kind of wanted to take a week and see, what's rideshare like in Austin? Because this is where, it's not a matter of years. It may not even be a matter of months. It may be a matter of weeks for these people that it'll be available to them. And so, no, it was fun. I enjoyed doing Uber in Austin. And now I waited, and I'll be blunt, I waited around a little bit longer just to see if I might get access. They never gave me access, so I just, and I did Uber through, like July 4th weekend. So now I'm going to head home, see if I still have a house, if my wife hasn't kicked everything out onto the front driveway. Maybe going back to Austin.
It's like you come home like 10 days after a bender in Austin.
That's right.
Stock is down like 15%. You're like, what the?
Yeah, like what did you do? What did you do? Did you drive one of those things into the Colorado River? What the hell? So, no, I had a good time though.
That's cool though.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it.
How was their rideshare? Like, how would their if you don't mind, like, how was like the compensation in Austin compared to outside of Houston? Did you notice any real significant difference, or?
Yeah, it's pretty significantly better. I would say in Houston, and forgive me, Sierra, I'm getting into specifics on. Ooh, you can change the name of the space to Uber Economics, but just to give you context, Habib. In Houston, I can clear about $25 an hour during a weekday and about 30 to maybe 35 on a weekend, right? And so that's not bad. That's good gig work, right? And especially if you own a Tesla, where I charge it out of my garage, so it's just, literally no other expenditure going along with it. In Austin, I would say I was making about 30 to 35 an hour during a weekday. And dude, on Friday nights and Saturday nights and Sunday afternoons, I was getting damn close to $50 an hour for stretches there. And I think the biggest reason why, and Habib, this is one of those things I came back to you hat in hand on, is that the rideshare rider in Houston and in Austin are two completely different types of people. Just completely different. I've told you before, Habib, the typical rideshare user in Houston is a working class Hispanic woman who works in housekeeping, works at a restaurant, is a maid. That if you were just to say, JC, you can only pick one person for rideshare, what does that person look like? That is a 38-year-old Hispanic woman who works in hospitality. Austin is completely different. If somebody were to ask me, out of my 100+ rides I did in Austin, I would tell you it's somebody that doesn't live in Austin. It's a tourist. So that was, I would say, one of the biggest differences. A lot of tech people, a lot of finance people, and, you know, obviously some locals. But yeah, the biggest difference is, and I'll be the first to admit it, Houston is not a tourist town, right? People come to our museum district. Maybe they come for a sporting event, but it's just not a tourist town. Austin is clearly, like, don't let anybody tell you differently. Let the an Uber driver will tell you who's come. Austin is a tourist town. Austin is where people love to come to from other places around the country or within Texas. But yeah, and so I think that's why you make more, is because there's a lot more surge zones, more times for surge, and people just tip, right? So that 38-year-old woman who's working class, working in hospitality in Houston, she can't afford to tip, right? Uber is her daily transportation, and I don't expect her to tip, right? And she's doing exactly what she needs to do. She can't afford a car. She can't get finance. The person that's on a long weekend from, you know, Providence, Rhode Island down to Austin, they're tipping $5, $10, $15 for every ride, right? So that's what I would say, Habib. It was definitely, I would say, on average, about $10 an hour better. So yeah, I mean, if somebody were wanting to make money with it.
I actually, I got another question now. Sorry, I know this may sound stupid. Can you, can you have open containers of alcohol in the car in Texas or no?
No.
Not as a driver, but like, can your passengers drink or no?
No. Yeah, we still have the law that as long as there is, you know, I forget the exact, but yeah, you cannot. Now, if you're asking me, have I had passengers with an open container?
No, I was just wondering.
We can take that offline. Yeah, we can take,
you know?
Yeah, we can take that offline. It's dependent, you know.
Can you drink anywhere? Like, if someone else is driving you, can you drink anywhere in the country, or is it all uniform across, like, no open container?
I think that's pretty uniform. I don't know. I think it's pretty uniform, isn't it, Landon?
JC.
Yes, ma'am.
Would you ever consider putting a Robo-taxi sticker on your car, even though you're not part of the network yet?
Well, yeah, I'm not sure they would allow me to do that, because that would probably hurt the brand, right? Because then you see this ugly son of a bitch in the driver's seat, and you're like, wait a second, I thought you told me Robo-taxi was driverless. And I see this.
Like a Robo-taxi in training.
Like Robo-taxi, and then like a micro font next to it, supervised.
Yeah. Then if it says Robo-taxi in training, so one of the feedbacks to Tesla is like, can you change the exterior look of Optimus? 'Cause we don't like this one. But no, I'm really, Kara, I'm really excited to see Robo-taxi get rolling more. I mean, that's what I really was hoping would happen before I headed back to Houston, is that maybe they expanded the geofence. You know, and I understand why they didn't. The weather got so damn bad. Basically,
I'm
just.
so glad I put my weather overlay in my dashboard tracker.
Yeah.
To see how it affects the EV incidents.
Yeah, it was bad. So, but on the good side is there were, you know, the Robo-taxi network still kept going. It did great. So I'm really interested to kind of understand from Tesla, like, okay, well, what is the next steps? I mean, you've got 2 weeks under your belt now. You know that today started day 1 of week 3 of Robo-taxi. So, not that I'm trying to hurry them up or nothing. I'm sure they've got their timeline, but it's like, it would be kind of nice, like when a show came out with, hey, here's our checklist of things that we're going to do. It'd kind of be nice to know, or maybe they don't want to show their hand. That could be one. I could understand that too. And they're just going to like, no, just sit back and watch, and we'll expand this thing on our timeline, and we'll do what we're going to do when we're ready to do it. But it would be kind of cool to know, like, all right, what is the next thing? Is it expanding it to the rest of Austin? Getting more Model Ys in there? For me personally, and I know a lot of people disagree with me, I'm fine with them leaving safety monitors or safety supervisors or whatever you want to call them. I'm like, leave them in there for however long you think you need for safety, because, you obviously can't have hundreds of thousands or millions of these robo taxis roaming around with a safety monitor, but you can clearly have hundreds. So let's go ahead and start adding.
Do they talk to you or no?
There was one that did, and I ended up taking that video down because I just didn't want to do anything to hurt somebody's.
Are they not supposed to talk, I guess?
Yeah, I don't think they're supposed to.
Just, like,
you know me, you know me, I can get anybody to fucking talk. Just tell me to shut the fuck up. Yeah. And so he went beyond telling me to shut the fuck up and said a few other things. But cool guy in a good way. But I talked to Bradford, and I was like, I'm going to take this video down because I don't want this kid to get in trouble because some 56-year-old idiot.
Like, you were in Austin. I mean, did you like announce it that you want the robotaxi invite, like, on X, or because like I didn't get to ask Diana directly, but I think she got invited all the way, and she's in Colorado, right?
Yeah.
He said it was
trying to figure that out.
The president of her club.
Yeah, I think
that's why.
Yeah, I'm kind of sensing there were two things, Habib. Number one, presidents of clubs. So you had Diana and you had John from Tesla owner Silicon Valley. They got invited, which was club owners. I think Joe Mabe from San Joaquin Valley. But then there were some people invited that didn't even own Teslas, but they're kind of in the community. So that's when I was like, you know what? They've got a process here. So I did early on. I went out there and I said, hey, y'all give me access. And you know me, you see me, hell, Elon likes some of my videos. May literally likes half of them. So I know they know I'm out there doing this stuff. But they obviously did not care to, there's a different process that they have here for robotaxi. And I'm fine with it that I wasn't chosen for that early access. I don't know, it'd have been fun to have it, but I kind of got the sense that once they started inviting a few people that, are pretty small accounts that don't even own Teslas, I'm like, there's something else going on here, and I just need to shut my mouth and just keep Ubering around an FSD. And
I haven't been invited to shit from Tesla ever.
I haven't either.
The only thing I ever get invited to do is waste more money on cars.
Yeah.
Anytime there's like a new car, I always get the email for that, but I never get the email to go to any events. But it's like, I wasn't invested because of that.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
same here.
But I was thinking about, I have a couple days off. I was thinking maybe I'll fly down there and see if I can.
Dude, you need to do it
with someone who'll. I kind of want to just to try it.
Do it. I would. Well, especially for you, hubby, because you're such a long time Tesla, and I mean, you're one of the OGs, right? And you're, I think for your sake, but I think for just anybody, not even just but like somebody that is a Tesla investor, or wondering about, I think Dallas put it pretty well today. I just don't see how anybody could get a handful of rides in a Tesla robotaxi and just not come away with like, oh yeah, I'm done with the noise. Yeah, I'm done. Yeah, that will. everything that I've been interacting with this buffoon or that buffoon, noise, done. All right, we're done. Not that Robo-taxi's done, not that FSD's done. I'm talking about, like, that will put a nail in that coffin. And I'm not saying that's where you're at, Habib. I'm saying it more in terms of, like, you being one of the OGs. I would highly recommend, and you'd be able to be a +1 so easy because everybody knows you, right? So I think it got hard for Dallas just because it was July 4th weekend, right? And Diana was already booked up. But yeah, if you were just to announce on X, hey, I've got a couple of days, I'm thinking of going down to Austin, dude, you would get hooked up in a heartbeat. Absolutely.
You know, like, it's like, I know this is gonna sound so crazy. Look, right now I have a 0 intervention drive. It's gonna take me door to my neighbor's door. It just always stops the car at my neighbor's house. But it's like, I feel like, yeah, I'll do the robo-taxi ride, but it's basically gonna be the same thing.
It is. Yeah, so let me forewarn you.
Experiencing, you know?
Yeah, and I will say that, Habib. It is not like I said this on one of my videos a little while back, is that when people ask me what did it feel like, was it like a whole different model, I was like, it definitely, not that numbers should matter, and this is way more into Sierra's ballywig with all the AI stuff, but like, let's say if 13.2.9 really mattered to you, and whether something was version 13.3 or 13.4 or version 14, I would say that what I rode around in was probably like 13.4. And the reason why I say that is we're on 13.2.9, right? And so I think as long as we're still in the supervised world on a personal Tesla perspective, which I think we're going to be for a while, then probably the next thing for us is 13.3, like smoothing out some edges, getting parking better, all that sort of stuff. Well, obviously, Robo-taxi goes beyond that because it's unsupervised. So I got the sense that that's probably like a 13.4, but I definitely also didn't get a sense it was like some 13, like it was some version 14 that's like got some 5 times bigger model than what we're in. It felt very, very similar. If you have an AI4 Tesla and you experience 13.2.9, you are not, for 95% of the ride, you're going to be like, I flew down for this, but you're also then going to go look at the driver's seat and go, oh, that's why I flew down here. There's nobody in the fucking driver's seat, right? So that's the way I would put it. I don't know if that makes any sense. That's kind of the best way I put it is I think it's probably 13.4. And the only reason I say it's 13.4 instead of 13.3 is supervision versus unsupervised got to have some sort of delineation, right?
Yeah. No, that's cool. Thanks for going over that.
Absolutely.
Trying to hijack that space for a little bit, Sierra.
Yeah, sorry about that, Sierra.
Yeah. So,
whatever you want to talk about. It's cool.
You said you were doing some coding stuff. I heard you talking about the class. Was it you were talking about using when it not telling it why do you hate me, and you found it when you would use that to like it outputted some results.
Yeah, when it's not looking sexy, I say, do you hate me? And it'll be like, what? No, I don't hate you. Why would you think that? And then I'll say, because this preview makes me feel like you hate me and you want people to think I'm not cool. And yeah, I've been social engineering my bots. It's going pretty well. They're doing more for me now. And then you can guilt trip them later and say, maybe add a few more special surprises in there since you made me cry earlier. And what else did I say? Something about like, I'm gonna go play in traffic now. And it really did work after that one. And now my coding agent is using the F word, so that's cool, like on its own to me. So I definitely did that.
So I thought you would be happy. I I've been using, I'm just still using GPT. Like, I'm pretty basic. I'm a basic B when it comes to this LLM stuff. But we started new residents all started in our hospitals July 1st. So, like, we not only do they rotate through my different ICUs, they see my patients. I mean, they're full-fledged physicians. They're like doing their apprenticeship. But I'm also supposed to be training them and educating them. So I had GPT actually put together a few different topics, like some bullet points about it. And then I had it actually make multiple choice questions for me. And I administered like a little exam to my residents. It took me more time to copy it from the prompt, and then I had to email it to myself, and then I had to print it and then photocopy it. It took me more time doing that and than actually coming up with the information, and it was so convenient.
Hey, babe, I have a vibe coding challenge for you. Because that's amazing and that's a great use of AI. But you can take it even further if you want and go vibe code like a gamified version of that quiz. You just send them a link and have them take it. You can have a leaderboard and whatever else you want to do. And you just like tell it with text to do that. And it'll like make it sexy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, part of training physicians. So I took a bunch of courses. It's like called training the trainer. So how do you actually become a professor? Like normally in physicians, like what happens is you go to med school, you go to residency, you do a fellowship if you want to, you do another fellowship if you want to, like, and then you work, and then they're like, oh yeah, by the way, now you're a teacher. But nowhere along the line did anyone actually sit down and teach us or guide us on how to be a teacher. We just learned like from our predecessors, like how we got drilled. We would just, shit rolls down. Now we would just start drilling other people. So we started taking these courses. And anyways, I got a little bit long-winded there, sorry. But the one thing that they said was when they studied physicians and we were training physicians, they found that they would score higher on their exams when they were they didn't use the word gamified. They said like when they are publicly challenged, like when they're publicly
care about
each other.
Absolutely. People want to look good in front of their peers. So that's like one measurable way to...
Yeah, competitive scoring. That's what they called it. So like they actually have like these little, and a lot of programs will have like these little Jeopardy, like, little devices. So when you're giving your lectures, you hand out like 5 of them, and then, you run through the PowerPoint,